welcome to Soultopia TV. I am Michelle Welch, along with my co-host
Roger
Welch, and our producer Matt Stoker.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing great. How's everybody doing tonight?
Awesome. Another amazing weather day today in Dallas.
Yeah.
For all you
very
people
nice.
who are
Yeah.
in the north or California or wherever
Well,
the storms are hitting.
California's pretty bad.
They have rain.
I've heard.
It's-
I've only seen some videos of some flooding, but I haven't heard much about it. But I do know somebody in San Diego, and they said it was kind of rough.
Pretty
where they
dangerous,
were.
I think, for some there. So not to be taken lightly. I think it's
Yeah.
bad floods. So tonight we are going over a topic that we're going to kind of try to stick to the not giving spells or telling what spells to use tonight. You can come to Roger's class for that, Spells for Love, this weekend, and to my crystal class on spells, not spells, excuse me, love crystals. Those are each this weekend, and we'll give you information on that. But we want to focus on the spells for love and how far are you willing to go to bring love into your life, or bring somebody who has maybe gone out of your life back into your life. What are you willing to do? And what is ethical, perhaps, and what's not ethical, and what some people say is ethical and what's not ethical. And how do you decide who to believe and who to follow? So that's what we're going to discuss tonight. Okay?
Sounds deep.
So we'll try to, I like those deep topics. So we're going to start off and just encourage with Matt and Roger the best they can. Matt wears a lot of hats over there, but the best they can to watch for y'all's comments so that we can put them up on the screen. And you do not have to agree with us, but here's what I would encourage.
Just have to agree with me.
You don't have to agree with us, but I'd encourage don't say some things. I'm learning this, even social media and just to be contrarian, just to how people do that.
No, don't.
I do it sometimes.
There you go.
I'm like, well, what about this side of it? So it's okay as long as you really, really think that, right?
Yes.
Or want to explore that topic.
That's correct.
So, what type of love spells, Roger, would you consider ones that, and we're not going to explain the spells,
Yes.
but kind of that when it comes to love, that people come in and ask you for that, in your opinion, might be considered to be on the borderline?
I think it's so there's a couple of different types, first of all. So if it's a love spell that it's just like, I'm lonely and I just want somebody in my life, I get that, But if it's, Michelle should just love me more, then there you start in another little different direction because you actually have somebody identified of they're bringing that one person in.
So they're naming somebody.
Yeah, they're actually naming somebody. I think that becomes a little bit different than just I'm lonely and I want to bring somebody in.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit of difference in there. And then there could be even more. Let's say you're naming that person, and it's not just naming that person. I want this person to love me more. It falls into the category of you're controlling that person now. You're doing another type of spell where it's controlling that person to try to turn their will towards you a little more.
Okay. So maybe take away potentially an aspect of their free will.
Correct.
And I guess the question for me goes to kind of analyzing, because I guess I do question everything everyone tells me. It's because I want to run it past my filter and my moral compass. But that's talking about free will.
Right.
The ability to bend someone to your will and to affect their free will. For me, I think almost anything can be justified if somebody wants to justify something, or they can try to justify it in their own minds. And we'll talk about that too. For instance, like, well, I did it in self-defense, or I had to do this to protect my family, right?
Yeah.
But why don't we start off with, so I think there'd be the question of why not to interfere with someone's free will, but can we really, and how much? And don't we anyway, because everything's a ripple effect, in my opinion, and it's a collective. So anything you do may ultimately affect someone else. So potentially. And then, or is it okay to interfere with free will more than someone or some code or creed may tell you? So let's start with that. I started with my instead of just listening to what everybody else had to say, although I did ask some friends what their opinion is, I started with the what is sometimes shortened to do no harm, which is a Wiccan belief and a tenet of being Wiccan. So if you're Wiccan, but that's not the whole phrase, right?
Right.
So the whole phrase is, do what you, it's like 8 words, use the Wiccan read, fulfill, and it harm none, do what you will. Basically, I think that can be argued that, because most people say do no harm, I don't think that's as restrictive as people think. I think that it's expansive, because a lot of people may be coming from something where they were told, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. And so they're expanding, do what you will, but don't harm anybody. What do you think about that?
So you're saying is they're taking a little bit of a phrase and maybe blending with another belief system almost, or kind of a phrase of things, and using it back into their own
And
use.
as of, I believe it was 1970, can't remember exactly, Wicca became a religion, an accepted religion. And so that is a religion. When people talk about religions, that is one.
Yeah.
And that's one of their tenets, is that phrase. And so, while I put it was meant to be freeing, but it's really, it became somewhat, and not restrictive, it kind of has become maybe more restrictive than what, in my opinion, the person who came up with it, and that's a history lesson in of itself that we won't go into, but it became, people use it in a more restrictive way.
Which one of the most popular books in the world has been rewritten multiple times for that same reason.
What, the Bible?
The Bible.
Right. So, so that's where I do think that we really cannot ever be certain, again, of our consequences of actions, that they aren't harming someone. Does that mean, because there's a ripple effect. I already said that. So I think where you have, in my opinion, where you have to start is with your own moral compass. So that's what you are comfortable with doing. Because, and I talk about this all the time, because there's a moral compass, right?
All right.
There's a social mores, there's being polite, and then you get into creeds or codes of ethics that you agree to, right? And then you get into, which creeds can be religion, and then you get into laws, right?
Right. Correct.
Okay. So I think you have to start with your moral ethics. What are your moral ethics, and what consequences are you willing to live with for your actions? Do you have examples of, without giving any information away, where somebody might know, where you ever have felt uncomfortable with something maybe somebody wanted you to help them with or know how to do regarding love?
I had a few times people did want me to do a love spell for them with that intent of controlling somebody. I've had a few people over the years want that type of stuff. And they actually wanted me to do this spell. I'm like, yeah, I can show you, but I would recommend you actually do something more like this, where it's not trying to control the person, but more of like maybe turn their attention to you.
So maybe glamour them a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay. So glamour someone might be okay, because you're dealing just with you. So not glamour someone, glamour, but don't put a specific person in
Right.
what you're doing. Okay.
Correct.
To me, this is like a huge, big topic, and people argue about it, and they always do. That's why I think you really have to go back to your own moral compass, because people are going to disagree. People also, what is negative? What is harm? I mean, what is harm? People are going to, and this is the lawyer, but harm is a big thing. I mean, to prove, like, let's say in court, that's, you've harmed someone, the damages you've done to someone. What one person perceives as harm, another person may not perceive as harm. So you really have to, there again, know what your moral compass is. Do you agree with that?
I do.
because what I think is negative, someone else may perceive as being more positive. And am I trying to justify it? No, because I don't want to bend anyone's will to me. To be honest, if they don't like me, then fine. I mean, I'm talking about love.
Yeah.
And you know how I am about that. So I would start. Obviously, we know you start with, well, why don't you work on loving yourself and do spells for that? Well, you have people that straight up don't want to do that, and so how far are you as a listener willing to go if you were very desperate to have love in your life?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? I do think the perspective and point of view, like if I get the person, the man or woman, right, and I write this down, might be positive, but to the other person who might be wanting that person in their lives, it's going to be viewed as negative. So which one do you look at? Which one's positive and which one's negative? That whole positive negative thing, to me, is something I always question, because not only are we dealing with human beings, we're dealing with the effects and consequences it could cause on all other sorts of spirit beings. Not because you're trying to fall in love with necessarily an alien, but let's say you're, animal companions. They're going to become involved if you break something up. So we've got all these layers of people who could potentially, not just people, but spirit beings that could be harmed.
Yeah.
And most people just think about humans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's kind of my take on it. If you don't look at if you don't know your own moral compass and you have to ask somebody else, what? Now,
Then your
to
moral
learn,
compass probably just spins.
well, to learn, it's like we say in court. If it smells like a skunk, it's usually a skunk. You can try to make that thing smell better, but you're not gonna. Nothing against skunks, but if it's a skunk,
What's wrong with
it's a skunk.
skunks? They're cute little
Okay,
kitty
well,
cat type.
when you smell a skunk, you know it's a skunk, and you can try to make it smell all
Or
better and put
pot.
perfume all over it.
Could be pot.
The stinky weed, yeah,
It could be this-
it could be that too. But yeah, and I do think it's really important to go back to that. And I'm not trying to laugh, but I can. When somebody just says, "Okay, do no harm," which they're shortening that already. By whose definition of harm are you going? And I just know from what I did for a living forever,
Yeah.
that is almost, please don't take offense, but that's a little naive.
Yeah.
Because to prove harm, there's some that are obvious,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some that are blurry. So
Yeah.
you've got to know, if you feel like I would not want this done to me, then you probably shouldn't do it to somebody else.
I agree with
And
that.
that's
That's a good
axiom to live by,
yeah,
a golden rule,
golden rule right
or
there.
a whatever you want to call it, because it's in
Isn't
every
that in
single
every-
belief system.
yeah, every
Find
belief
one
system
that
out there.
it's not in. So, or
I
maybe
think they have it a little bit different. Buddha said it a little bit different, but it's the exact same thing. I always like that one.
there's a meme on it. You
Yeah.
can Google it, and it tells like all the major, not even major, all the different religions and the form of, treat others the way you want to be treated. So that'd be like the first thing I would ask.
So I like Devin's little comment here. I always tell people that I'll help them with a love spell to get a partner, but they have to cast a love spell on themselves first.
Love that.
I think RuPaul does the same thing, doesn't he?
Well, I don't think Devin got it from RuPaul, but maybe. Oh, what are you saying? You got to love yourself first before. You're just
Yeah.
trying to make a joke out of what Devin's just said.
No, I was agreeing with
No,
him.
yeah.
I was telling him I think RuPaul could be a wizard too.
Obviously, Roger is a huge RuPaul fan, and we're not joking.
mean-
We love RuPaul.
I was joking. I was being serious.
I know.
I tell everybody that.
I know. So I do agree that we have to start working, but you do have. Let's get real. We get people who, and I can admit there was a point in my life where, that's why I decided at that point in my life to never feel that way again. I was so upset with someone. This is when I was in law
Was it me?
school. No, and
For a
he
change,
was
was
still
not me.
back in college, and wasn't a nice person. So clearly, I didn't love myself at all, Devin, and needed to do a lot of work on myself, but kept letting him. And I realized that I could easily turn into like an obsession And I think these spells can do that, an obsession and almost being a stalker. I mean, I would have been that person on TV who went completely nuts and drove to Dallas from Waco and did something crazy. And when that happened, I decided, I don't ever want to try to convince somebody to be with me.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bye. No, I'm kidding. So that's my take. So read Devin's again,
Oh,
if you don't mind.
oh, by the way, he agreed with me too. So just so you know, let me go back to it. All right. I always tell people that I'll help them with a love spell to get a partner, but they have to cast a love spell on themselves first.
Okay.
You gotta love yourself before you love
So ask
anybody
Devin
else.
Devin, if you're still on. And we were going to try and bring Devin on, but I don't think we're going to do it now.
I
We'll
have that
try it at a
closed.
different time. What'd you say?
I said I have that.
Well, let's
Zoom
ask
meeting
Devin,
closed,
though. Let's
but,
ask
yeah,
Devin if he wants to pop on, because
I don't have it up.
Oh, you don't
it
have
does
it.
have it up.
We're going to try it another time, y'all. We can have people pop on for a few minutes, and then because they're all, I know Devin and Matt and all of them writing and very busy too. But what was I wanting to ask
Changing
Devin?
hair colors.
Spell casting. We're not going to change to this total topic though, but so there are spell casters, and I would say, Devin, would you call yourself that? Because you will do work for other people. And what does that look like? Because you said you would help with a love spell, but you would have them do their own love spell first. So I'm kind of curious about that whole spell casting and how you feel about that, even though that'd probably be a whole nother show.
He says he's cooking dinner.
He's cooking. Well, he's spell casting.
Yeah.
Like,
That's that's the ultimate spell cast right there.
That's why I think I can't do any of this stuff, because I can't even because, I've told y'all.
That's what you
It
make
calls for a clove of garlic, and I put the whole bulb in. So that's the problem with me. And I think I'm very dangerous because I can't follow the recipe ever. Like, I do think that was that same person that I was kind of obsessed with. By the way, he's dead. So it's fine.
okay.
That was
I
a
get-
different
just to-
spell
so
she
y'all
cast.
know.
That was a different spell she
No.
cast on that one.
No, I would never ever do that. But I didn't mind that he died, just to be really honest. I'm being serious. He's a bad person. I mean, but what's bad? I mean, maybe it was bad to me and not bad to anybody else, right? No. He died the way he lived. Somebody else might want to take over.
Well, let's see. Actually, Jen's on too, and
We actually have a
little-
quote from Jen,
yeah, you have
We
that
do.
was-
Do you want to see that now?
Yeah, let's
Sure.
read
I was
Jen
gonna
Sankey's quote.
My little
Let's see it.
comment overlay is not working, so Roger, you'll have to kind of keep up with
Okay.
those as they come in. But I have been trying to. But yes, here's Jen's quote here. I'll go ahead and read it. It says, "As with any spell work, the why for the spell is the most crucial ingredient when doing love spells, especially focusing on healthy communication and feelings. Whether the spell is for a client or yourself is the most important, rather than trying to manipulate another's energy. By ensuring you or your client has reasonable expectations, you'll be more successful in any love type spell work you do." It's from Jen Sankey.
Jen the Fairy Sankey.
Jen Sankey.
Jen the Fairy Sankey.
Elemental Sankey from Stardust Wanderer. And we do have her tarot cards here for
We
sale.
do.
I think we have a few decks left. So
I
that's
sold one.
Stardust
Saturday-
Wanderer
Sunday.
Tarot. And what's Devin's website too? Because that was a quote. Devin, we didn't have time to put your quote in a cute little graphic. Mary did that cute graphic.
I don't know.
Wasn't it cute?
Yes, it was.
That's very nice.
Well, he said before he'll help somebody with a love
Oh,
spell.
his love
he
spell. Yeah, you
work
put
on
it on
yourself.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta learn yourself, love yourself.
Gotta love yourself
Self.
before anybody else.
That's true. What season of RuPaul are we on? I got really confused. Ethany knows.
That's because she's a season or two behind.
Let's see. Devin says, back in the day, I would do a spell for, all caps, someone. Now my rule is that for love magic to work, it takes a lot more than people want to believe after watching practical magic. So if you watch that, yeah.
There you go.
So I work with them on the things that need healed inside, help them with spells and rituals they can do on their own. And then when it is time to do the big working to bring someone in, the whole focus shifts. It becomes about attracting complementary people who will make a good partner in life. That is Devin Hunter, and we do want to give the
Yeah.
website and information for Devin.
And if you notice what he said in there is it's not really just focusing on a single individual person. It's what's bringing in for the best for you.
Right. I always tell, this is off the subject a little bit, but I in everything I do when people are making their list of what they want to manifest in their life, I always have them put how they want to feel versus, I mean, not versus, but I think the most important thing is put how you want to feel. I want to be respected. I want to be cherished. I want to be honored, as opposed to they need to be tall, make this much money, and all that kind of stuff. Because while that might work, are you going to really be loved? I think that's questionable. So I always just say how you want to feel. That's just...
Those videos are, well, I know Michelle never watches TikToks. Even the ones I send her that are funny as hell, she won't watch.
They're addictive.
But they interview people. What are you looking for in a mate? Oh, he's got to be 6'5", dark, and makes $350,000 a year, which is like 1% or less than 1% of the population. Type
I'd be
thing.
going for, if I'm going to name a
They don't
number, I'm
ca-
going to be going higher than that.
Yeah, I mean it's like ridiculous. I mean, like what they're looking for is just, the percentage of people like that fall into the category just not there.
Okay, so
So you need to be a little bit more realistic too, probably when you're doing your love spells. Like
Do
you
you?
said, well, what did you just say? You'd be looking for somebody who treats you right, takes care of you, is protective, interacts with you, communicates with
can you
you.
list those again so I can remind you later?
Well, I was trying to remind you of those.
I'm kidding. So, yeah, I mean, I think I think it's okay. There, you're working on yourself. You're manifesting what you want to bring into your life. You're creating that reality in some parallel universe. That's probably already true. And you might want to learn to tap into that. I think we can, to find out how that's working out for you. Like, okay, if all you care about is that they make $350,000 and they're 6'5" is kind of tall.
Exactly. Especially when she's like 5 foot tall.
Well, I mean, it could be the girl that's. It doesn't matter what sex. They're 6'5".
There's the one girl on there. She's like 7 foot tall.
Who's
You've seen
this?
her. The one girl on TikTok, she does because she's so tall. She's like 7 foot tall, and her
Play
mom's like
basketball. And
volleyball.
that, I
Her
mean
mom's
that
like
seriously.
7'5".
I mean that seriously.
But her
gosh.
husband, her mom's 7'5", and her husband's 6 foot. So when you see them side by side, it looks like, yeah.
I don't think I've seen. I
And
don't
he's
think I've
like
seen
6
her.
foot tall. He's not like he's a short person, but he looks
Yeah.
like he's about 4 foot tall.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
This all the way derailed. I used to play. So all the basketball players up at a certain place in town where I played volleyball, they would come over after they played basketball, like Michael, Michael
Yeah, I remember
Irvin,
that.
and Nancy Lieberman. They'd come over and they'd play. You remember Nancy Lieberman, the basketball player?
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't that tall, but they'd come over and play volleyball with us. And they were horrible at volleyball. Like, I was always lifting. And I was like, yeah, I'm not lifting the ball. Like, smile, I'm not lifting, I'm not cheating. They were not, but their basketball over there, man, that was dangerous.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be playing that for a second. Okay, that's totally off the subject. But
Well, all
talking
right.
about 6'5" or 7 foot people. All right, so Devin's told us what he thinks. What do y'all think in the comments? Do we have anybody commenting on
There's all
or
types of people
questioning?
commenting.
Well, how about we pull some of those up and see what they have to say?
Let's see here. Da-da.
And just
I
so
gotta
y'all
scroll
know,
back
I
to-
question everything.
So
I even question, is there ever a pure motive? It's the fact that you just
there
have
was
a
one
motive.
from
Is it
Angela.
pure?
Angela, what if you? And a few people actually even chimed in on there, but we didn't read it out. What if you want a friend or relative to leave someone you know is bad for them and fall in love with someone else? Can you do your own spell on their behalf?
Okay. So I would first say to Angela, how many people, how layers of other people have we named in that spell? So if you, and can you name people? I think that's debatable. I think, so to answer your question, read that again. If you
It's,
want them to leave.
what if a friend or relative, what if you want a friend or relative to leave someone you know is bad for them and fall in love with someone else.
So let's go there. What does bad for them mean? Are they being abused? Is it self-defense? Do you think you're saving someone? And
Or
is
do
it
you
your
just
place
don't
to
like the
do it?
person?
So I'd love to hear what you have to say with that, since you do spells a lot. I just do them in my mind, and I have to be very careful because I have a lot of anger.
I think you would be, I think to start with, okay, I think there would be actually kind of even back to what Devin said, but I think two spells that would be the way to start this. One is the person, your friend or relative, right, that's in the bad situation, is do a spell for them that they actually love themselves, all right, and confidence and love spell for just themselves, just for them, right? So because a lot of times what happens, the person they might have the mindset is, this is the best I can do, okay, or I can't, they just feel down about themselves, reason they kind of get stuck into a situation. Second thing is I would do a spell for them for that person as a spell that would be like for their self good, okay,
highest and
regardless of what that is, it's what is best for that person, okay, because how do you know their situation, that person they're with might be for their best good. Who knows? I mean, even though you're seeing it, and it might not be your idea situation, but it might be for their best good, because you don't know what's coming up in the future for them. And this person could be protective of them if something happening in the future. Then again, it might not. So if you're doing a spell that's maybe for their best good, maybe it does remove them from that situation overall.
So I would agree that I think you would do, it depends on what the word bad means. And everybody, here we go again, everybody's going to have a different opinion of what that is. And I do not, first of all, I think other people should do their spells unless it's somebody who's very, 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 very experienced. Matt, Jen, you, Devin. I think there's more intention that goes into it, and as long as it's good intention, it's and more energy and focus, and it magnifies it. It's just like the more you do to even create this different thought form. And I'm not forming my thoughts very clearly on that, so it sounds like I don't know the difference, but I do. I think that my answer to that for my moral compass would be I would not do that. I would do what you said. I would do something for safety or something for help them see the good in themselves, or protection around that if it's really bad. But I know what can happen. Let's just go to the worst case scenario. Let's say someone was being abused. That's not the worst case, but it's horrible. Why you want them to leave, but they aren't leaving? Well, there's a reason they're not leaving.
Yeah.
So, and because I've volunteered at domestic violence shelters since I was 24. So that's a long time. I would not interfere with that, Angela, if it's something where it's bad like that. So if it's less than bad like that, I would make my spell be more for safety, that they see the light of the situation and their eyes are open to the fact that there are alternatives. There are places to get help, and I would do a spell more for that, for them to get help.
Yeah. And Devin said he would do a spell to reveal their true colors.
To see the light. That's what I meant by that. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a good way to go about it also. Very good.
And then, maybe you see their true colors, which we don't know what bad is, and that's the whole thing. What's harm? What's bad? What are our definitions of these? And they can be different to different people. So to see the truth or the light of the situation, I don't mean light like I see the light and it's all perfect and positive. I mean, just
the light of mine.
But Devin said it better, to see the truth of the situation.
Yeah.
Even if you see the truth of the situation, sometimes what we think someone should do in a situation is not what they think is the best for them in a situation.
Right.
So I would not do what she said. I would do other spells like you and Devin said.
Yeah. There's obviously a couple of different ways to go about it, but I think just doing a spell to break somebody up and all, because you never know. Like if you did a spell, let's say you did a spell to break somebody up. It's like, I want them separated. Well, I mean, they may slip into depression after that because they thought that person was the light of their life, versus bringing that true light out of what they really are like and make the person aware of it.
I think a big, we throw around, free will and even predestination. That's 5-point Calvinism, FYI. That's who really believes in predestination. 100% is a 5-point Calvinist. But, which I know some of those. So they just believe you're a puppet, basically. But I think the word really is consent. What are you getting someone's consent? Because think about it. If you change it to, let's say, that I absolutely, someone, party A wants party B to fall in love with them. So they want a spell where party B will fall in love with them. Well, that's a specific person. And why does that matter? Why would that rule matter? Well, because unless you're getting consent from someone, that's like the Me Too of magic. What do y'all think about that? It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Me Too of magic in a sense, because you're trying to control someone without their consent.
Right.
And so I think a key word is, yes, free. That's a phrase, free will, but a key word is it consensual? And if something is not consensual, then I'm not sure you should do it. But that's my moral compass. That's what I think. Because I think that if we really believe, and I do, that magic works, Devin, in the intro to Jason's Miller's, is that his name? We're doing Real Sorcery. I'm going to say something wrong. And their book club. And I'm so excited for this book club that Devin and Matt are having on Jason Miller's book. And I think I've already read the whole book because you know how fast I read, so I'm going backwards. But the introduction basically all said, magic is real. Magic is real. That's what I got out of it. Sorcery is real. That was the introduction. I think he could have, and I'm not being ugly because I write and I'm not, I mean, he's a good writer, but I think the introduction basically could have said, it's real.
Yeah.
So if it's real and we believe it's real, then you have to start with, okay, it's going to work.
Yep.
And if it's that real, if you're bending somebody to your will, and it's not consensual, then that's almost equivalent of a crime, potentially.
Could be. Yeah.
I know everybody's gonna be like, "What are you saying, Michelle?" But that's how I think. What do y'all think about that? Because if it's not consensual, it's not. How do you know what's for somebody's highest and best good? Do you just ask? Do you just set that intention?
If you're asking for their highest and best good, is it your choice of what that is? Because then you're putting your intent into it versus what is really their best good. Is what you think is their best good.
Right. So we know, by the way, that this has been debated and talked about, but we have people from all walks of life watch our shows and come in our stores. And so we really just want get you to start asking the questions of the client that you had and almost everybody in town had at one point that kept asking, is my husband going to die? And finally you said, we're not going to see you. You're not allowed in the store anymore because she'd go everywhere because we knew why she wanted that. She didn't want him to live. And so it's very clear that's going to be something definitely very clear cut that is against the law, right? But it starts with that moral compass, and not everybody's is the same. What consequences are you willing to deal with, and do you believe in consequences? Do you believe something's going to be returned to you 3 times? Who said that, and why? Do you know? And if you're a solitary practitioner and you're just winging it and not asking, getting down what you really, really believe and why things are written and why they're repeated, then I think you're just putting yourself in a box and letting somebody actually control you without even doing a spell on you.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, I believe the whole self-care thing, but it's very difficult for me to think that I could do something that is not consensual, and I wouldn't want it.
Wait, say it again now?
I would not do a spell
Oh,
where
where it
it's
wasn't consensual.
non-consensual.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to get mad at me. I wouldn't, because to me, that's Me Too magic.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I do agree. One more thing is that it doesn't just happen overnight. I believe this is a lot of intention, a lot of work. People can be better at doing spell work than other people. But some of us can just think things a few times and then it happens.
well, think about it. Well, like Devin just said, wait till we get to get into breaking love spells.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, I said podcast for 2 weeks after Valentine's.
So let's
So this is kind of that what you just said, because when you're in their situation and let's say you're trying to bend somebody's will towards yourself and it's not consensual, and you end up with a stalker after that.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted?
Well, of course not.
Yeah.
And that way that I felt years ago, I was like, oh my God, I'm turning into a stalker. I'm never going to feel this way again. And I changed it. And that's why I don't do jealousy either. Or I try not to. But, are we going to help people? But it's true though, right, Devin? When you, and Jen, if you're still on, I don't know who's on because I'm not watching it. But it's at one point, or at some point, midnight margaritas after? Yeah. At some point, I can't remember what I was saying. I'm going to read what Devin says. A great book, The Love Alchemist Notebook by Jessica. Is that Sheffers? Sheffers. Is that how you say that, Devin?
No, he's
Shepherd.
Shepherd.
Oh, Jessica Shepherd. Let me read it again. The Love Alchemist Notebook by Jessica Shepherd. I would encourage anybody at all to start with what you believe.
Yeah.
What do you know what your moral compass is? Because that way, if you know when you're in a good state of mind what your moral compass is, when all of a sudden you get in a very obsessive state or something like that, you maybe will have that good foundation of what your moral compass is. Because everybody's going to, in my opinion, have a difference of opinion of what that is.
True.
Not every single person, but, for me, and I'll just go there. If I think and I pick up on the fact that somebody's a freaking pedophile, believe me, all the rules are going to fly out the window, and that's just fine with me. I don't care what happens to me. Sorry. I'm just so y'all won't ever want me in any group, I'm sure, because I wouldn't care what the consequences were to me if I knew for a fact.
Right.
Or they told me. So don't ever tell me that, because that's not going to be good. Right?
Right. That's correct.
All right. So on the record, so my moral compass would be, I don't care what anybody's rule is on that. If I know 100% and they've told me, yeah, that's off the subject though.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the other direction.
Matt's going
Matt's like, reel it back in, Michelle.
totally off the subject.
No, you're fine. Devin says he's the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't.
I assume that's what he was responding to.
I'm assuming,
Just
yeah.
don't even.
Has to
And
be.
we all are going to have different traumas and different triggers and different things. And if we decide on that ahead of time, and that's when the whole thing, you justify something all the time by saying, well, this is in self-defense. So at what point are you justifying actions that maybe you shouldn't be justifying? I think that I can pretty much argue I don't like to argue, but I'm good at it in court. I think you can make a case for
only in court.
Well, yeah, only there.
That's not true.
But that consensual thing is very important. And clearly, with those MFers, pedophiles, you don't have any kind of consent, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's give away a prize.
Well, since we didn't spin the wheel, y'all gonna love this. We didn't spin the wheel the last 2 shows. Michelle's got it over here.
I do have it. Don't put me
over
on here
here
yet. Let me
to
log
actually
on. We're going to figure this out.
To be
how,
able to do this.
because Matt runs he's got about 1 foot of space over there, and he does about 50 things. So, but
I don't know that I have any room for anything extra over here. But
Okay, so we're not going to do it.
we
So
can
we're
figure
just
this.
going
We
to
can
have
figure that out.
All you gotta do is
My manuscript's down at the bottom. Don't open it. Ugh.
So we have a spinning wheel on the computer here with
The
everybody's name,
spinning wheel.
and this one is for prize for Make It Stop episode.
Make it stop. Remember, was that last week? No, week before last.
Yeah, 2 weeks
It
ago.
was make it stop. Like if you have spirits in your home, what will you do to
Yeah.
make them stop?
Get rid of
Okay.
those spirits.
And so listen to that one if you want to know all my opinions.
So we want to know who the winner was, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get this a little fancier. Y'all hear it?
Oh, we hear it.
Hear that?
Oh, wait.
Pretty
Shh,
cool,
shh.
right?
Leslie Sidlowski.
Leslie,
There
you
you go.
always
Oh, it
win.
reads it too. That's cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Leslie is a winner.
Where's the other one?
Okay, so then go to, I don't know, this maybe? Yeah, and do the
The
other
chat is very intrigued about this manuscript.
This is the.
So the chat is very intrigued about this manuscript.
one. Oh, that manuscript. It's about to go in the trash. No.
Prize for live readings, 130. Okay, this is the one for
That's from
last week's.
From last
Okay,
A
last
lot of
week.
entries on that
I
one.
put all these in, but Mary looked them all up. Thank you, Mary
Okay.
Gates. And I had fun putting
Really?
them in. I'm ready.
Bam.
Spin it.
Kelly Patrick Torres.
Whoa.
There you go.
And
Very
I will
cool.
say there was a little waiting of that one because there was one person who got the bonus question, Matt.
We have an extra entry,
The question was about you, and it was
as they all should be.
which instrument had you taken up, and we will get a report on how you're doing. A piano, but she did answer without us saying. She answered that your other instrument that you had played was guitar. So she was Angela. You
It's one of 3.
were weighted more equally.
She
Or
got an extra
you
entry.
got an
She got a bonus.
extra entry,
Extra
and you
entry.
still, I'm sorry, didn't win. But I bet you there's a spell for that. Okay, all right.
Luck
so,
spell on that one.
yeah,
The
but it would
luck
affect
spell. That's
everybody else.
actually
That
next
would have
month
taken it from
also.
what's her name? Whoever won. Kelly. All right, Matt. So how's piano going?
Good. It's getting a lot harder. I was feeling really confident the first week, and then I really got into some more challenging lessons and things like that. Arpeggios and scales and stuff using both hands, and it's so I was getting super frustrated yesterday, and I had to walk away for a bit because that's not a good headspace to practice in.
Right.
And I didn't practice today, so I probably will when I get home. So it's getting harder, but I'm also doing things that are a little bit more challenging. So I think that's progress.
You're up to the task. And mine is, and I did get this from Matt, Oren, and Devin, because they said, do something that you're not going to sell, that you just are going to do for pure enjoyment. So I've been sketching, and I wouldn't be able to sell any of it.
That's not true. Some of those are really good.
They're getting better when I
getting
have
better.
patience
And-
instead of
Which we know how that goes. but
quitting. Well, I'm pretty persistent.
You are.
But
She had
that
one full big
shading
page
thing?
yesterday that was all these small sketches that were actually really good.
So what kind of, are you trying for realism, or are you trying for more like artistic?
anything and everything that I'm in the mood. So I'm not more realistic, I guess. Because Roger had bought me all the paints last year, so I don't feel like I'm ready for the paints. Oh, by the way, let us know, y'all, if you want to have a paint night, because we wanted to put somebody on Zoom walking us through a party like on a Friday night. We used to have a lot of different parties up here, but I am enjoying it so much that where it says, you have to practice your shading and practice this and practice that, I'm like, no, I don't have to, because I'm doing this for fun. But because when I start really working at something, I take the fun right out of it.
It's called obsession.
It's called I want to be great at it. And so far I will show y'all sometime. But
Where are they? Are they on, like, are you doing it actually on paper, or are you doing it
paper.
on, okay.
Now, I bought one of those things that Benabelle, because Benabelle and I are pretty good friends, and and I'm always like, how are you so good at everything? She's like, discipline. I'm like, okay, well, that just counts me out right there. No, I
Forget that.
am pretty persistent if I really
And
want to
that
learn
thing you
something.
bought, where is it?
That thing, I have no idea.
Still
You had
in
to
the
put
box.
You had to put, but you should use it, Roger. You have to put I've never used it because you had to put this glove thing on your hand so then you can draw. And I was like, well, I'm already out. This is not going to work for me.
Was it like a digital thing?
It's a digital. It connects to your computer, and the thing on your hand keeps you from smudging through.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
see.
So I just use sketch pads. I use pencils. I use different things, and I like drawing. I'm obsessed with
It,
blindfolds and veils,
Yeah.
and so learning to draw the fabric. I looked all into the stages of mourning in the Victorian era, and when Queen Victoria literally wore mourning attire from the time Prince Albert died, and it was about 40 years. And the attire they had 3 stages of this, y'all. The attire that they had to wear, primarily it was the women who had to, because they didn't need to turn their eye to somebody else too soon. Roger's gone. I give it a week. Find somebody else. I'm kidding.
About
That's what you would do.
right. That's about
No,
right.
but it was poisonous. So it would
The black dye.
the
in
black
them.
dye
Oh.
was poisonous. So some people would even die from wearing the mourning clothes. So I'm drawing that, right? I've been I'll be looking up things like, and Tussie Mussies, and what are they called?
Flowers.
No.
They're basically like, they're
Dadgummit. Tussie Mussies, the hard one. The things that you hold, not the bouquet, but they would hold them for the smell. Because
flowers in like a little container.
There's a word
but
for it.
Yeah.
and I'm just drawing a blank. Y'all know what it is. Somebody tell me.
I'm sure somebody will get it.
I 100%
Victorian
know this
tear
word.
catchers.
It's the little bitty flowers that you hold. So I've been drawing those because they would carry them because things stunk so bad.
Yeah. People.
And then there's Tussie Mussy. They have these little
People.
brooches that you can wear. And have y'all seen those? Those brooches are beautiful. I want to start collecting them. Roger's like, I've seen them. I've also seen your ashtrays that you collected. But those Tussie Mussy, so you'd wear them as what are those, y'all?
Corsage?
No.
I don't know what word you're looking for.
Hold on. Oh my gosh, y'all. We started giving those instead of corsages. We'd had the guys start giving those because girls didn't want to wear those daggum corsages or even wrist corsages. So
It's not
called,
bouquet? Like, that's not what you're
No,
doing?
it's
Okay.
called a
All right, I'm out then.
dang it, y'all.
Maybe
Okay.
this is a question of the week.
We're in Texas.
Winter, because I know the word. Tussie Mussy is the one that I didn't know as much. Okay, it's going to drive me nuts. Somebody get it.
Okay.
All right, Matt's going, you okay? Okay. Move on. Let's give a prize away. Or tell the
Well,
things of the
first
week.
of all, you want to talk about products of the week?
Yeah,
real
but I'm
quick,
still going to be thinking about what
We're
that
going to be
word is.
doing this real quick. All right. So first thing is our Satya Aruda incense. This is actually one of your favorites, isn't it? This scent.
Yes, it
Yes.
is. It sort of smells like pink bubble gum,
Pink bubblegum is what she says.
kind of. But I know that isn't very appealing. But it has a really
I'm going not pink, but maybe when it's burning, but
have
not
a
right there. It
great
doesn't.
scent
It's more of a floral scent. But those are buy one get one free. This week only.
okay.
And then our bracelet of the week is the Soul Jesus bracelet.
And it's not a boutonniere, the boutonniere,
Boutonniere?
y'all. It's a thing you carry right in front, and it's got a little stems. They put a little ribbon on it, and you carry it. It's called a. Okay, so I'll do this one.
Let's see if I can figure this out while you do that.
Just Google Tussie Mussy, and I'll have the other.
I don't
word
even know
for
how to spell that. Like, what is...
it. Tussie Mussie.
Okay.
Okay, it's gonna drive me. The minute you said it, I'm gonna be like, I knew it. But I've been drawing those.
Yeah, they put boutonniere. So, but
It's not a boutonniere. It's a dadgummit. All right, so we can't. I don't know if this is showing.
It was already showing right here.
Okay, so we have the soul.
But yeah,
We have a lot of can I hold it again? Thank you. So this is our soul. We have a lot of people from the Bible. I'm very
Nosegay.
into Solomon. Nosegay. That's it. Who got it?
Well, somebody did say that earlier, but
It's
I
a
Jen.
nosegay.
Jen looked it up.
It's nosegay.
yeah.
So there's nosegays, and the reason they had those was so that they wouldn't have to smell all the stink. That everybody was stinky.
I got to give credit to Angela on that because she had that a long time ago, but I guess
Okay, we
nobody
didn't
knew what
see
that
it.
was.
Okay, so this bracelet is one of our prettiest bracelets, y'all. We have Solomon, we have David, that I very connected with, King David. And so this one's the Christ consciousness. It's the Soul Jesus bracelet. And honestly, it says Christ consciousness. Was a compassionate healer and teacher and a leader by example. So wherever you come at the definition or your connection with Jesus, it doesn't have to be religion. But if you come at that from that direction, that's fine too. But the Christ consciousness is a great bracelet. It's got labradorite, aquamarine, and I'll tell you the picture does not. Well, the aquamarine on this one, maybe it does it, but some of them have some of the most pretty. I'm just cutting it down right now. This aquamarine's not the most beautiful aquamarine, but you can tell it's not dyed. It looks a
It's
lot more
well,
like,
it's because of the gray and the beads. It makes that the blue
Yeah.
a little bit more faded, and the gray come out.
and
of
then it
it.
has the
Because
black
it has
tourmaline.
because of the gray tones.
So that's one of our, and I'll tell you, Ashley designed that before when she was with us. She designed it, and I love it. And then Dalmatian Jasper, did you talk about that?
Nope.
Okay, what do you want to say about it?
Tell us about it.
Why don't you?
Okay.
I'll do it. Okay, so look, it looks like Jasper is.
It looks like
in
it's
my
got
opinion,
run around on the fire truck.
In my opinion, Jasper is always nurturing. Agate's always, I say this every time, protective. And not always, but in general. And they get their names from how they look, where they were discovered, who discovered them, or their color, something like that. Agates and jaspers. That's a broad statement. So Dalmatian jasper, I automatically think of the Dalmatians, and I think of loyalty. Now, other people may not write that. How do I get my definitions that I write? I get them from how they're formed, their crystal systems, where they're from, what they've been through, what that crystal's been through in being made. Is it really a crystal? Because a lot of them aren't. But Dalmatian jasper, our card says, if I can get it here without making too big of a scene. And we do have these cards for sale. It gets you out of your head and into your body. It harmonizes emotions. It assists you with anger and assists with insomnia. And yeah, I would put loyalty on here myself. I wrote those, but they need to be clearly better written. Okay. So, what are you doing, Roger?
Putting our question of the week in here.
Okay.
You're gonna
so
love
I have
this
a question
one.
of the week.
Okay, question of the week, and I'm putting it in the comments. What is the Victorian name for the bouquet of flowers that Michelle loves to draw?
Well, I'm not sure I love to draw them yet because they're
draw.
not.
This should be a gimme by now.
Yeah, this one, y'all should easily get this one. At least you can look back a few comments before and answer it.
And what did they win last time? They won the Zadkiel. I
yeah.
know my answer. The Zadkiel, but the time
That's
before
right.
that.
I don't
Bracelet.
remember. Yeah.
Bracelet
Yeah.
of your choice.
So, right. And so, and one thing is that you comment there. We'll do the same thing next week's show. So if you want to know if you won or not, you got to be on to see. Well, the funny thing was, I was actually watching. I was TikTok. Surprise, surprise. On my
He's addicted.
while I was driving, kind of. Sort of.
Oh, gosh.
But I was really kind of more listening. But the guy was talking about, actually, I think I sent it to you, but he was talking about Jesus. And because in the Bible, basically, Jesus is gone from the age 12 to the age 32.
Okay.
Okay, in the Bible. They're
Where he
like,
kind of showed up at the temple.
so he's
being
just-
taught.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're like, but was he really gone? Here's where he was. And they have actually, like in Egypt, they have like, this is where he lived for so many years and where he learned da 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 da. And he went here and he learned this and he went here and he learned this. And then he all of a sudden he shows back up.
What's your point?
Oh, it's kind of funny that Jesus was the bracelet this week.
I know, but I lost the whole. I lost
Thought it
the
was
I
whole.
think it was
funny.
just an interesting story.
Oh,
It's an
okay. I'm
interesting
sorry.
story.
I-
Kind of like yours. It runs off the rails.
Okay, so y'all, speaking of that, that is very true. But my brother beats me on that. True. His stories are like an hour, but everybody listens to them because, you know, you might get
It's
some
like,
really
you could have told me that in like
good
3
tickets
minutes.
if you listen to but we had a great time, and I do want to thank someone who really, I'm not going to say a name, but some people, all of you who've been thinking about my dad. One person in particular who was two, actually, maybe three, constantly doing some work on the behalf of my father, and it made me even more believe in what we're talking about tonight.
Definitely.
Not the love spells, but doing work for someone. And because there was a moment when there was a shift, and this person told me there was a shift. And at that point, that is right when my dad's health shifted. And so I am so grateful to that particular person. Thank you. And so anything that I have said tonight, I just like to raise questions. I don't ever want to be trying to argue with anybody or put down anything anybody else believes unless it's hatred. And then, I will totally put that down. And can we define hatred? Yeah, pretty clearly. Yeah. When it's hate speech and hate, things like that, right? So what do y'all think? And y'all can keep giving your comments. I hope we got people's comments because I feel like people would have a lot of opinions on this. So if we didn't, we will get better. I'm not saying Matt's not good at it, but, you know, Matt or Roger, but I really would like to put those up if we can. So we could, because I know we really do have those of you who know a lot that watch, and a lot, you don't have to know a lot. You really can just question, you know, what's your moral compass on that, and what do you believe? And then based on that, you will find a group of like-minded people. Maybe not on everything, but at least kind of has your moral compass. Do you agree with that?
Yep.
Okay. But I think you start there, in my opinion. So, did we give the prize away, or you said the question?
Yeah, we did the question. So I will say, guys, this this Saturday at Soultopia here in Carrollton, Michelle and I are doing 2 different classes. My class is first, right?
Yeah, because I go over, so you.
Yeah. So
Nobody
my
wanted-
classes start at 2:00. We'll probably be done an hour and a half to 2 hours. But it's my spell work class, so we're going to talk about love spells. Okay, and it's not just you know, your generic love spell. It's going to be some really cool, fun things. It's $33, and you will get to take home your spell packets that we actually make in class.
So you provide the supplies.
Yep.
Always.
All you got to do is show up. I will
and-
take care of everything else for you.
And usually in his classes, y'all, they're so much fun because they're hands-on. I'm more chi-chi,
And your class starts at 4:30. What is your class?
but it's going to be hands-on. This is the love, Crystals for Love. I've taught this class so many times, but if you've come and you have a crystal certification with me, I do certify people in crystals. A lot of them are on here, or many. It will be different enough that you'll still enjoy it, and you'll leave with some crystals.
Yeah.
We may throw in. I may go to the dollar store and have Roger eat all that candy out of those little
Nope,
boxes.
let them eat it themselves.
And then you put the crystals in there, and so we'll learn. It's really going to be kind of the crystal journey of love story of crystals, starting with how you self heal, that was brought up tonight, and all the way into bringing into love into your life, whatever kind, and different kinds of love, and crystals for different kinds of love.
Also, guys, just as a reminder, this month with the Soultopia loyalty reward system, we're doing a point per dollar spent. Okay, so basically, you come in, you're going to get a point for every dollar you spend, and once you hit 100 points, you get a $10 coupon. Okay, so that's all month long. Plus, online or in person, if you come in and shop, bring your coupon. We've sent these out a few times. We've sent some, or if you're online, use that checkout code LOVE14, and it's LUV14, LUV14, and you get a 14% discount off everything you're buying, as far as products, not services.
It's 14 because, like,
Valentine's
Every
Day.
14.
Valentine's Day is on the 14th.
I had to
And I
remake
did,
college.
if you think about it, though, this month we got so many things that happens in the month of February. I mean, we could have put anything in there but it's just a great month for celebrating everything from Black History Month. You have Valentine's Day. We have Groundhog Day. What else is
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
But
Yeah,
I
there's
had
so
a
many
roommate
things
in law
happening.
school, and she called it Valentine's. I'm like, it's Valentine's. No. And so it literally, like, for the whole time I'm rooming with her, I'm pretty much sure that's why I moved out.
It's a good reason to move out.
Valentine's. I'm like, it's not Valentine's. And she was I was, please pronounce it right. It's going to drive me nuts. And no, actually, I think she broke up with me because
Was that the one you were going to cut her hair?
no, that was at A&M. I read this The Stand by Stephen King, and I woke up in the middle of the night standing over her with scissors, and I had cut up this note, this little love note thing, and then I was standing.
What type
up.
of
She
love
had her
spell
hair-
was this one?
gosh.
she drove me crazy playing that Dan Fogelberg song, that Run for the Roses, like over and over.
Can we
and
make that our
over.
intro next week?
And I
Yeah, I
kind of
was gonna
thought
dig that one up.
she woke up and I was standing over her and I had the scissors in my hand, and she's like, "I'm not being your roommate anymore." I was like, "Okay,
I
fine
think
with
that's
me."
completely fair on her
Yeah,
part.
I mean, I wasn't gonna do anything. It was just in the middle of the dream. I sleepwalk, right?
Yes.
And sleep talk and sleep night
Talk is the
terrors
funniest,
and
though.
everything.
The sleep
So-
talking is the funniest, though. Full conversations.
I do. I try cases in my sleep, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I used to dream in tennis too. Okay, so who cares, right?
Dream while you're playing tennis or dream
Oh no,
as
I
you're
would
playing
dream
tennis?
the whole match of tennis. I would be okay. It was a straight down the line, and then hit your partner in the head because they're not paying attention at the net, and then the next one, you ace them on your serve. But I usually play guys because I hit the ball so daggum hard that.
Would you win in your dreams?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, I win. Or I lose, and then I'm really mad at myself, and I have to play it over again.
I see.
How many rackets you break in the dream?
In the
Just
dream,
wonder if it
no,
was
in the
as many
dream,
in
I
the
can't
true,
remember, but
true,
I did
in true,
break them.
true life and in dream.
In true life, I did break. They would fly over the fence sometimes. Yeah.
Son of a!
On their
and
own.
there it goes.
It just magically
Yeah.
just take off. It was like, a magic thing just pulled them out of my hand and just flew over and maybe hit a car once or twice.
Okay.
Okay, so next week we were supposed to have on Ethany Dawn because she is great at love readings. And I think she's one of the best people I know to give love readings, and why you don't laugh at people who ask certain questions and all those kinds of things. She's not going to be able to be on next week, and I'm not going to publicly tell why, but it's understandable. So we're not, instead of switching and having her on the next week, she doesn't even know this yet, we're still going to keep it the same. So we are going to probably have a guest on in place of Ethany next week. And then the week after that is game night.
Game
Okay,
night.
Game night.
Get ready
And-
for prizes.
Yeah, and so if y'all have any suggested games, we probably won't do the match game again, but
Nope, we got some ideas on that though.
be watching for that. So there will be a guest next week. I promise you they will be very good. Roger's our guest. He'd be great. No, I'm kidding.
Duh,
But
yes.
we'll have a great guest, and then we'll have instead of switching up game night. So
Yeah.
game night will still
We'll
be.
keep everything in order because we do want to keep, the game night, that we do the same weekend or same week each month. So y'all get used to it and join us every week.
Okay.
And make sure you're, share it with your friends because the more people we get on there, yeah, your chances of winning is less, but it's a whole lot more fun with more people around. Come on now,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
more fun. We all get to interact and have fun together.
Well, we are over time. Otherwise, we would have done our 1, 2, 3s for the week. We'll try to work those back in. Obviously, on this show, we can only scratch the surface of things to think about. I love it how Devin recommended a book. We'll see if there's more that are recommended, and we can put those in the somewhere for y'all to see and for people who in the comments or whatever. And just start remembering our schedule. One more time, the first Tuesday of the month will be a topic, right?
Topic.
The second Tuesday of the month will be a guest. The third Tuesday of the month will be game night. And the fourth Tuesday of the month will be readings.
Yep.
Okay? And if there's 5 Tuesdays, there'll be an extra topic in there.
Yep.
Okay? So, and the authors, when they come on, they will be able to promote their things, but there will be a topic that we're talking about instead of just a sales pitch the whole time. no, you know, right? Because
That's
it's
right.
easy to kind of fall into that. So that's it.
That's it. Okay, guys. We are a little bit over on time. Thank you so much for joining us, Matt and Michelle and Roger.
Yep.
You thanked
And
yourself.
myself. Yeah, thank myself. But seriously, guys, thank you all for joining us tonight, talking about the love spells. And if you can make it to a class this weekend, come join us, have some fun. If not, that's okay. Keep an eye out because we got some other things coming up in the next few weeks, and you can definitely join us for those. And make sure you like, share, or follow so you know next week when we're coming on live, and share it out with all your friends so more people get involved. All right. Thank you guys, and we will see y'all next week. Good night.